Welcome to the Breakfast Club. I'm Rita, and I'm here with our special guest, Rob Tiller. Rob, welcome. It's always a pleasure to have you here.
Great to be here.
Thanks for coming back. And you are going to teach us to fly easy, aren't you?
Correct. But before I do, the last time I was on, I was wearing this hat.
Okay.
And somebody in this station was picking on me about the hat.
Oh.
So I found out about another type of a hat that I just found out about. It's pretty historical. These are made with a grass that only comes from one area.
Okay.
And you can wash this. You can change it to any style, any shape. It's for a lady, this particular one, and I thought I just might know the one who might like to have that. And the other guy has been picking on me. Could you come here for 1 second?
Yes, our cameraman needs to come.
Okay, now get rid of that hat because this one's yours. And by the way, this hat does something very unusual. When you pull the string in the back, it tightens it up, so it's custom.
Thank you so much.
Watch this in the back.
Wow, that is fabulous.
Kind of neat, huh?
Thank you.
Okay.
How great. I think this is my new beach hat.
There
Forget
you
the
go.
baseball caps.
And they're
I'm
kind
all
of neat.
set.
You know, you can wash it. You can get it wet and put it in any shape you want, and it'll come back to that. Or you can fold it up and put it in your luggage.
Oh, that's a great tip, Rob.
Yeah. It's made from a grass up in South Carolina, the only place in the world they have it.
So is that where you bought this?
Yes.
In South Carolina?
Yes, I had to go all the way there because of the cameraman.
Oh, how sweet.
Okay.
Fernando loves it. I'm ready for the beach.
Great.
So, Rob, teach us how to fly easy.
Okay.
I'm going to take this off just for this segment, even though I love it so much. I'm going to put it right on the back of my chair so everybody can see
A couple of things have
it.
happened since I was here. And
Okay.
by the way, I'm getting a lot of response that people really like the show and they really
Great.
want to get involved.
Good.
So I contacted a friend of mine, and he personally started his company about maybe 7, 8 years ago, right here in West Palm Beach. He's from France, and he bought an airplane. He's a very astute pilot. He has a lot of hours, and he decided to take people in South Florida on trips. So he's just finished all these trips in all these countries,
Wow.
Mexico, Bahamas.
Well, I will read some off. Mexico, right, like you said, the
Right.
Grenadines, interesting. Iceland,
Yes,
Galapagos.
right?
He spent New Year in the Northern Caribbean.
That's correct. And he just finished a show in Honduras, and he would like to come here on the show with me the next time, and then we can introduce him, and they can see why people like to travel in groups when they leave the country.
Okay.
So it pertains to the licensing and the laws and things like this, and naturally since 9/11, the rules have changed quite a bit. And if you know what the paperwork is in advance, it's very simple to do. So I wanted to invite him on the show, so with your permission, he'll be on it.
Sure. I'm not the ultimate decision maker,
I
but you
understand.
know the decision maker very well, or
Good.
both of them. There's a couple of them here.
Good.
And we would love to have him on.
Another thing that happened with my company, LearnToFlyEasy.com, I have just finalized the deal to purchase the airplane factory that I've been trying to get, and it looks like that might be a possibility. Well,
Woohoo.
anyway, some people in Poland contacted me, and they want to build the aircraft actually in Poland. And he would like to also to come on the show and tell what it's like to fly in Poland. And they're very, very, very nice people, and they've got some factories over there that have been building aircraft for years and years. So they're very astute. They really know what they're doing. This particular gentleman lives in Naples, Florida, and his name is Greg, and he's real hot stuff. If he's watching, hi Greg. And I'd love to have him come on the show and talk about factories in Poland.
Great.
Okay.
Well, we do have some Polish engineers here.
Yes, that's correct.
And that would be an interesting...
I think it'd be quite unique, and having Pulley come on here with a with the flying segments, going to foreign countries, and then him coming in, I think, would be a natural.
Well, for our viewers at home who haven't seen any of your segments yet,
Okay.
why don't we fill them in on what you do, Learn to Fly Easy, because we don't want them to miss out. We want them to be right with us.
Perfect. The U.S. government has come out with a brand new license called Sport Pilot. And the Sport Pilot license is a new thing trying to get more people in the air. Right now, as we sit here in the station, you see all the cars all over the place. There's thousands of them everywhere. Look in the air, you don't see one plane. Look. I mean, all the way around the station, there's not a plane in the eye. So they've come out with a new program called Highway in the Sky. And they're actually going to block off a little space in the sky, and that's your space to fly in without another aircraft in your way.
That's interesting. Now, how will that work? How will I have a space in the sky for myself?
You know the new cars coming out now that have the GPSs in them? That stands for Global Positioning System. And the government has worked on this for years and years, and it wasn't legal until recently in the aircraft. We all had them, but it wasn't a legal, STC for the aircraft. Now that it's legal, they can take on this, and it's almost like you're driving your car down the street where it says, go to the next light and turn right. Well, this one tells you your altitude is too high, or either you're too far to the right, too far to the left, and steer the plane back into the box. It's unbelievable. It's so easy to fly. It's unreal. It's not like it used to be, where you had to go to school for a couple of years and spend $50,000-$60,000. You can actually learn in as little as 1 week.
That's so exciting. You were telling us some of the differences that are in the aircraft that we would be flying in our highways in the sky. We're not going to be flying commercial jets now, are we?
No, not even close.
What are we going to be flying,
It's a very limited aircraft. It only has 2 seats. Okay, you can carry 250 pounds of baggage. You're not allowed to fly at night. You cannot go into Class A or B airspace, which means like the great big airports. So if you came into this area, you wouldn't be allowed to go to Palm Beach International, but you can go to Lantana, just south of it. And they're doing this for your own protection. They're not saying you're not allowed here. It's just your aircraft is a little bit slower, and you don't need to be in the traffic of the bigger aircraft. So the limitations that they've placed on it really and truly are just for safety. But then they have a brand new category of aircraft called light sport. And we are, by the way, #1 for 3 years in a row. We're the #1 aircraft of its type in the whole world. We won Oshkosh and we won Sun and Fun. I actually got a picture of our award here that I bought with me.
So when you talk about the aircraft factory in Poland, you're talking about manufacturing these aircraft.
Yes, and the reason for that is our labor cost here is so high. Okay, it's almost prohibited for anything, and people are outsourcing mainly into China. And I kind of chose Poland because I know a lot of the Polish people, and I really like the country a lot. I like the history, I like the people themselves. And we're probably also going to build also in China, but for sure we're going to build here in West Palm Beach also.
Great.
So our big mass building will be done offshore, but then the other will be right here. And we'll have at the beginning about 9 employees here. And anybody looking forward to getting in that business too might want to give us a call. And our phone number and all is on our website, which is learntoflyeasy.com. But we've got positions open for employees, and also we're going to be doing the teaching here. So it's a new opportunity, and it's something new coming to town, so we're looking forward to it.
Great. Well, we're going to be going to a short break. You can stay with us, right? Can't you?
Sure can.
And we have lots more questions for you. And for our viewers at home, please call in 800-725-9240 if you have any questions for Rob Tiller. Also, you can check out his website. It's learntoflyeasy.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Breakfast Club. I'm Rita, and I'm here with Rob Tiller, and he's from Learn to Fly Easy, and he's going to teach us how to fly in 1 week, which is phenomenal. That is such a fantastic thing. Now, I was scared the first time I heard about this. I thought, okay, it's possible to learn to fly in 1 week, but it's not for me. But Rob has been very convincing and very positive about the fact that anyone could learn to fly. And you told us a nice story about a lady that was 80
That's correct.
who came to you for flight lessons, and she learned to fly. And what is she doing now?
She not only is an aircraft maintenance lady, she's also she's not an instructor yet, but she's going for a commercial, which means instrument rating. And she's kind of hot stuff, flying a seaplane too.
Wow, and how old is she now?
She's probably now like 82, 83.
Wow, that's fantastic.
We have a woman that just made some flights. She's 102 years old. She's in Florida, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah, she's at an airport over off of Sanibel Captiva, a place called Pine Island.
I don't know Pine Island.
Yeah, she actually owns the little airport there. She used to be an aerobatic lady that went around, and she used to fly the military planes also.
Wow.
By the way, I'm glad you brought up the ladies. A friend of mine writes a news article for Women in Aviation. She would also like to come on the show. She has her own publication. She's really hot stuff. She flies the big stuff too. She started out with the little Mickey Mouse planes and worked her way up, and really nice people. And she's the editor, and she would like to also come aboard with the with this flying program that we're trying to put together.
Wow, that sounds great. So tell us a little bit more about how this is going to work, because you're telling us about factories that you're trying to get in gear to build these small planes, these
Correct.
two-seaters.
Correct.
You're telling us about the highways in the sky that we are going to be able to maneuver by GPS that's on these planes. You're telling us about the lessons. We can start learning how to fly in 1 week.
Correct.
And how are we all going to be able to have planes? Where are we going to keep these
That's
things?
funny you said that, and I'm glad you brought it up. It leads right into a subject that I'm very close to. Because this is brand new, all the new people that are getting into this business have just started up. We knew about this for a few years back. So not only are we kind of in first place, but we're kind of like, we're the best there is. I don't want to brag, but it's the truth, okay?
Okay, if it's the truth, say it, Rob.
Anyway, here's a magazine that just came out, and it says, Learn to Fly, get your license now. It's so hot. You're going to see these publications all over the world that people want to get involved, and they want to start to learning to fly the easy way. And that's why I called my company LearnToFlyEasy.com. I also want to inform you of something else that I'm just decided today to start. I have a real affection for kids, especially the poor ones. You know, the rich kids have everything. And I was an orphan, and I was raised up in an orphanage, and maybe that kind of stuck a little bit to me. But I found a bunch of kids that got in trouble in the state of Florida, and they were thrown out to a special children's camp out in Belglade. So I went out there a couple years ago, and they said, these kids are really out of control. I don't think you won't even be near them. I said, I'll take the bad ones, you take the good ones, and let's see what happens. They bought the kids out. They had policemen, armed guards. They had people all the way around the place. And I looked at the kids and I said, you know, y'all don't look that bad to me. Are you really that bad? You want to fight, or you want to wrestle a little bit, or you want to learn something new? Those kids went absolutely bonkers, and here's my picture with them. Every solid one of them's grade increased. So I decided I'm going to start a thing for the underprivileged kids that just don't quite have the money to go flying, and we're going to donate part of our proceeds to this, and we're probably going to have a new website come up right away. And I want to teach the kids and have the kids teach their kids.
Oh, great.
Do you follow me?
I do follow.
Getting them ready so when they get old enough that they can go for the license. But it might give them something to shoot for and maybe kind of get some of them off the streets.
Well, what did you work on with these kids? Was it, were you teaching them how to fly, these kids?
You would have died laughing. That's me. That's my airplane. And I told the kids, I said, I want to show y'all how I tried to learn to fly. And I went running down the grass runway doing this, and they
must have
just
made them laugh.
oh, they cracked up. They went nuts. And I tried to make it real light and airy with them, and then I put them all on the plane, taxied them around a little bit, let them got the feel. And I've been contacted by half of the class, believe it or not, and all of them say, man, they want to get into it. Because some of them didn't want to fly, but you can wash airplanes, you can wax airplanes. There's all kinds of things that you can do.
Maintain them, right? Be
Yes.
part of the maintenance crew.
They can actually build them even without flying. They could actually get a job, you know, in aviation. And I kind of hope that the state of Florida starts funding for some of the schools so that the kids can get into aviation at an early age. Because again, look at the skies, nobody's there.
Nobody's there.
And look at the accidents we have, you know, right now. And with these new planes, they're so safe. It's unbelievable.
So suppose I wanted to learn how to fly and I get my license and I get to go use the highway in the sky. Where do I get a plane? If I can't afford one, what do I do? And if I can't afford one, what do I do?
You can buy a kit from me.
Okay.
That, by the way, I got some terrific news on. A guy bought one of our kits in England. He photographed every day and wrote a diary.
About putting it together.
He did the whole thing. He built the plane, by the way, in 54 days.
Wow.
Okay? So you can buy it in a kit. You can buy it in whatever form you want. If you want the wings already assembled or the interior in it or whatever, we'll do that. But the kits start at $18,500, and then a finished plane will run anywhere between $40,000 to $60,000, depending on what you put in your instruments.
Okay.
The plane that you're going to go in, by the way,
Oh.
I'm going to get you in a plane that's about a $50,000 plane. It will have all the latest and greatest. You follow me? All the accessories. And
Does it have a parachute too?
well, no, but we have an option. We have an option that you can actually pull a ripcord, and a parachute will take the whole aircraft right down to the ground.
The whole aircraft.
The whole
Now,
aircraft.
I haven't heard of that before.
Yes.
That sounds something NASA would have.
Well, it is. And by the way, it was kind of developed from NASA. And also, you remember seeing the drag cars go down the street, you know, racing, and they had the big parachute behind them? Well, we now have this parachute in the planes, and it's a $2,500 option. If you're in trouble, and let's say you're in big trouble, you pull the ripcord and just sit on back because you're going to float right on down.
And if I can't afford a plane, what is my option?
You can rent them. You can rent them right here in Lantana. You can actually rent them right at PBI. So you can actually go in with your little license, show them your license, and tell them that you're qualified. They'll put you in the pattern once to make sure you're safe, and you can rent the plane.
Wow. So when are you planning to get your factories online? When can we expect to be able to go into a showroom and start buying these?
We're ready right now. Our factory's producing. We have 130 planes already in the air. And the big show, the worldwide show, is coming up here in Florida. It's called Sun and Fun. It's a terrific event. It lasts 6 days. People from all over the world are there. And I would certainly like to see some of you guys maybe come up there and maybe do a little quick filming.
Where is
It's
it?
incredible. North Florida, it's halfway. You know where Orlando is. Right across from Orlando, it's called Lakeland.
Okay, and Rob, I don't want to cut you off. We'll be right back. So make sure you stay tuned. We have lots more. Welcome back to the Breakfast Club. I'm Rita, and I'm here with Rob Tiller, our special guest who is teaching us how to fly. He has a very special program, Learn to Fly Easy, and you can find his website at learntoflyeasy.com. And he was telling us about the aircraft that he's manufacturing, and you could either buy it in a kit or anywhere between kit form and ready to fly, right?
Correct.
And tell us a little bit more about the aircraft, because I think it's really interesting. It's a two-seater,
Correct.
and
You have 250 pounds of baggage. We call ours a high wing. You know, the other one would be a low wing. And here's a picture of it, and here's the award that we've won every year for 3 years. But this particular one here, if you'll notice, has 3 wheels. That's called tricycle. If you take the nose wheel off, move these wheels forward, it becomes a tail dragger.
okay,
You can sleep in this plane. The 2 seats lay down, It comes with 2 sleeping bags, a porta potty, and a camping stove. The wings fold, and you can take the airplane home and put it in the garage without paying hangar space at an airport, which is quite expensive. It also will go into a 20-foot container, and our first trip that we make is going to Mongolia, and we're going to send the airplane in Mongolia, and we're going to show up there, and we're going to do a show. And we're really looking forward with it. Sport Pilot TV has been talking with us extensively, and we're trying to put together right now the formation for us going to foreign countries and showing our product and setting them up. In Mongolia, I'm friends with the ambassador there, and his son is going to become our dealer. And you would say, Mongolia, my God, it's the last place on earth, but there's a lot of fascinating things that you can go and see. One of the things we're going to do, we're going to be landing our seaplane in the lake, which is the deepest lake in the world, is in Mongolia.
Oh.
And we're going to be drinking vodka from Genghis Khan, which is the oldest vodka recipe on earth. In fact, I've got a couple of bottles already sent to me here. The bottles are incredible. They got Genghis Khan's picture on them in a little stamp. But our plane is so unusual because it'll do so many different things. We have one version with cameras. So let's say you're a realtor and you want to take aerial photography. You can do that just by clicking. You don't have to hang out the window and do all this fancy stuff. We're going to have them actually installed in the plane. Then we have one that will actually put fertilizer out for, let's say, for a farmer. And then we have one that would be able to tow banners. It has a hook in the back, so you can tow banners and make money with that. So there's even a way to make money with the plane if you don't want to fly. We have the guy that I told you about in the United Kingdom that videoed everything that he did on his plane. He actually made $5,000 a week because he sold the plane for $20,000 more than he paid for it. And he built the kit, and now he's ordered 6 kits.
So is the Highway in the Sky anywhere in the United States right now?
It's everywhere in the world.
Everywhere in the
Yes,
world.
a lot of the countries haven't gotten acclimated to it yet because, believe it or not, let's take Cuba as an example. I've been to Cuba many times, and by the way, I was legal. I had a license to go. We did a medical convention there. But in their airplanes, they didn't even have the GPSs because they didn't have the money. They couldn't afford them. Now they're getting them, okay? And when you get a country like that didn't have it, naturally they're not tuned into it. But very, very quickly, everybody in the world will be operating with Highway in the Sky.
So we could take off from Florida and fly to anywhere in the United States pretty much.
Sure.
And outside of the country, wherever they have...
These planes are legal anywhere in the world.
How long can you be in the air without refueling?
Good question. How many miles an hour are you going to go? What's the weather like? What are the winds like? But usually we could be like 6 hours in the air. And like Bimini here is 47 miles. We can be there in less than an hour. Okay. And with the fuel that we carry, we could go to Bimini and back 2-3 times with the same fuel. They're very efficient and they're very easy. So easy to fly. You and I spoke once before, and we were talking about, and you were getting ready almost to know the pattern in just a short period of time that we were on the air. And by the way, I'm going to come back with it, and you're going to have to learn some more.
Okay.
Because I'm going to get you in that left seat.
Oh.
The left seat is for the pilot, and that's pilot in command is the left seat.
Okay.
So you're going to be in the command seat, and I'll just be over here kind of as your little angel on your wing.
That sounds
If
great,
you make
Rob.
a little bit boo-boo, we'll just kind of
You can be my angel. That's very good. Very good. So, is this for any weather conditions? When is the optimal time to fly this plane?
You, as a sport pilot, in a week, are not allowed to fly in weather. Okay. And by the way, I wouldn't advise you to fly in weather years from now, even if you had more instrument ratings. I tell everybody that I'm teaching, when they see weather, don't go. You don't have to go. There's no reason you have to be in that sky. You follow me? And you're not legal in weather in the sport pilot category. Now, once you become a sport pilot, you can take additional lessons and you can become a regular private pilot or a commercial or get other endorsements right on up to a jet. And it just depends on where you want to be. And by the way, any pilot who claims he has done it all and has it all, don't fly with him. Every one of us learn every solid day. Every day there's a new situation and there's always something to learn. And the minute we think we know it all, that's when we get in trouble. So when you see these real cocky ones telling you, I can fly the box that came in, let him go fly it. You stay on the ground. You keep yourself legal and safe.
Well, this is great information, Rob, and we're going to be back. We have a few messages to go to, and we'll be back because I want to know how you got started in this, how your passion started for flying. So stay tuned, everybody. Remember, if you have questions, give us a call, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Breakfast Club. I'm Rita, and I'm here with Rob Tiller. And we were just talking to Rob about flying and his passion for flying. I really wanted to find out where that comes from. Where did that start for you?
Well, that's kind of neat you ask that. A friend of mine a long time ago, he was actually the chief of the Seminole Tribe of Florida. And he laughed at me and joked at me because I couldn't fly. Okay? So he gave me a nickname, Walking Eagle, okay? Anyway, it's a long story, but let me tell you what happened. I decided that moment I was going to fly. So I went out here to Clewiston, Florida. I bought an airplane. I had no idea, nothing about the plane. And don't ask me why, and I never should have done it. And by the way, I shouldn't even say it, but I took off. And I was so scared. I had a cell phone with me, one of the first cell phones in Florida, actually.
So it was about this big?
It was the old one that you carried the battery and everything with it.
Even bigger than that.
Oh, yeah, bigger. I'm real old. Anyway, I had it sitting on the seat, and I dialed a guy that I know, and he said, what do you see? I said, clouds. He said, go down. What do you see now? I said, trees. He said, go up. Anyway, I landed at the Big Cypress Indian Reservation out in the center of the state. I rolled out of that plane. I kissed the ground. I said, I'll never do this again as long as I live. And the chief was there, and they said, well, that was the greatest thing they'd ever seen in their life. So I went to school. And I got to tell you, I flunked twice. It was hard because, you know, I'm an old man. I didn't learn when I was young, okay? And I got hooked into it, and I just went, man, this is the greatest thing. I hate to be corny, but when you get up in that air, I don't know, you seem like you're closer to God. You know what I mean?
I do know.
And I say my prayers every time I'm in the air. God, please let me get back down. And I'm not a religious freak. I'm not pushing that at all. But I'm telling you, it's the greatest sensation on earth. When I was a child, I told you I was an orphan. And I jumped off the roof with an umbrella. That about broke my neck. I actually broke the umbrella and everything else. But I just really wanted to fly. And I think a lot of people are that way. But when I asked about it, they told me how expensive it was. And some of the pilots were pretty cocky, and they kind of said, well, you can't do it. And I just kind of left it alone. And then when I found out how easy it was, and now today, my God, it's easier than driving a car. I swear it is. You have less instruments, you have less things to do. And let me give you an example. We don't have turning signals, okay? We don't back up.
Right.
We don't have to park. We don't stop at a red light and go at a yellow light. You know what I mean? I mean, look who's in front of us right now. You
There's
get in that
nobody in the
air,
sky.
it is so gorgeous, and you see things differently. Your whole life changes. It really is one of the most fantastic things to do on earth. And now that it's so easy, I really recommend everybody going for it. Our course, if you took my course from beginning to end, and by the way, if you don't pass, we don't stop. We stay on you, okay? You wouldn't spend $1,000. You'd meet probably 10, 15 brand spanking new people, and you would have yourself totally legal to go rent a plane or either buy a plane or just enjoy just flight with other people. And let's say that you don't even want to become a pilot. Once you learn to fly, when you're in a commercial plane, you see everybody getting all white knuckle and they go, oh God, what was that? And they hear something thump and they're scared to death. You know, usually it's like the landing gear coming in. You'll learn so much more things and you'll be a lot happier. So the people you meet and the places you go, I'm telling you, it's the greatest thing that I know of, and I'm just loving it.
So when you say learn to fly in 1 week, is that literally every day going out there
By
five
the
days
way,
a week? Or
that's really hitting it hard.
Okay.
Okay. And let me tell you, everybody's pushing it. Learn to fly in a week. Believe it or not, if you really wanted to fly and you gave me your attention in 1 week, you'd be okay. Now, you're not going all over the world. You're not going into Class A airspace and things like that, but you'll be safe, okay? I would rather tell the people to learn to fly at their leisure. If you like what you learned today and you say, hey man, I want to get up in that sky, come on back tomorrow. If you don't, absorb it a day or two. But don't stay away from it more than at least 1 hour, at least, every week,
Okay.
or you'll forget. And one thing in an airplane you don't want to forget.
Now, is it all hands-on, or is there book work?
There's quite a bit of book work. I'm glad you brought it up, by the way. I'm going to ask you a question.
Oh, I don't know.
What is the only gauge that you worry about learning to fly easy?
The altimeter?
You did it! I told you you're going to become a pilot.
I want to make sure I'm
And
up
by the
high.
way,
That's all
I
I know.
folded the book for you because that's the only gauge I want you to worry about. And you hit it.
Well,
Now,
that's
can you
what
imagine?
Well, I don't care about the speed as
2
much
weeks
as I
ago,
care that
we-
I'm above the trees, right?
2 weeks ago, would you have known that?
And probably not, no.
Well, you got it now. And by
Great.
the way, that's perfect.
I'm starting to think like a pilot,
That's
Bob.
exactly where you should be. But this one book here is called Sport Flying for the Idiot.
For the Idiot,
Everybody's
okay.
seen the complete guides for idiots. And by the way, usually they're too hard for me to understand, so I need the real idiot. I wish somebody would come out with a simpler book. But I'm thinking about writing a children's book on learning to fly and keeping it so simple and kind of laughing and joking so they don't lose interest. And I went to Barnes & Noble and asked them if they had any books for children. They don't have one. You know, so I said maybe
Great
this
idea.
is a shot to do one. But this particular book, it takes you through everything you need to become not only a sport pilot, but a real pilot. But it shows you the gauges like the altimeter. It shows you the gauge when you're sitting level. And it breaks it down very, very, very simply for you. But the
So,
problem is it's so much. So I like to condense it to less than this, way less than this. And I like to have you study like 5-6 pages because all I care about is that you're safe. I don't care about running any speed record. We're not going to do any aerobatics. The whole name of the game is safe. For you to make that pattern just one time.
about how many hours of actual flight work before the sport pilot license?
Actually, what should happen is the very first day that I met you, I should have put you in the left seat and we should have taken off.
Wow.
It's that quick. Because if you horse around and you take your time, you'll never get there. And when you say, what do you mean get in the left seat? You don't even know the difference left or right seat.
Right.
You understand?
I do.
So you would automatically sit there and then I'd say, by the way, you're the pilot in command. You'd go, what? I said, you're in charge. Where do you want to go?
Right.
What do you want to do? And you'll go, I don't know where I want to go. I said, well,
Rob, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we're going to a break. So for our friends at home, make sure you stay tuned. We have lots more for you. Stay with us.
great.
Rob, I have any
Welcome back to the Breakfast Club. I'm Rita and I'm here with Rob Tiller. And Rob is getting us excited about learning to fly. And I wanted to get everybody at home excited. I wanted you to explain to us, Rob, how hard or how easy has it been for some of your clients to come, some of your pilots?
Well, that's a good question. And by the way, somebody at home, Margie Bellamy, I'm going to get her in a plane by hook or by crook. She owns the Casa Loma Mobile Home Park in South Florida here. And she and I have just kind of become buddies. And she was like, I wouldn't get in that airplane if you gave it to me, but I think maybe I can get her in it. But let me give you an example of some people that are afraid and what their biggest fear is, okay? First of all, they think if they get into the air that they're going to fall, okay? And that's a national, it's a tendency. If we stand up wrong, we might fall. In the plane, you can actually go up to 1,000 feet, turn the engine off, and how far do you think you'd go?
How down? You mean how far down? To the ground?
Well, you can go 4 miles gliding. So picture that. I mean, you just sit there and glide with no sound, looking for a place to land. So the biggest fear, I guess, would be falling out of the sky. Well, falling out of the sky would be turning the engine off. And if you can glide, now you start building some confidence. So usually for a pilot just starting to learn to fly, they will teach them the emergencies, and they'll teach them the things that most people have fear of. But let's talk about men and women for a second. The men, they got their hands all over the dash. You know what I mean? When I put them in the seat, they're like, what's this? What's that? You know? And I'm like, man, don't touch all this stuff. You know what I mean? The women, they sit there like this. Okay?
They don't want to touch anything.
They don't want to touch a thing. They just want to sit there. Am I going to be okay? You follow me? And when I told you about the gauge, altimeter, that'd be the only gauge I'd have you looking at, okay? Because I don't want you to see all the rest, because I don't want it to fear you. But what happens is, if you'll do what you're told, you're going to be safe. If you start experimenting, you're going to get in trouble. And there's an old saying for all the pilots all over the world. You know when we get in trouble? When we're doing something we're not supposed to be doing. Right when I bought my first airplane, I had to buzz everybody I knew, and I was going to scare them, man. I went right for the window, and zoom, you know, I was like a maniac. And a couple times I did it, I really almost messed up. I had my dog with me, and my dog slipped when I rolled, and I had a big yellow lab. He fell over into my lap, and now here I am right above the house, and we almost wiped out. So when you do crazy stuff like that, believe me, all you're doing is, you know, living on the edge, and it's no sense, and it's against the law. You can actually lose your license. So if you do what you're told and you follow the proper procedures, it is so easy. Age is no longer a factor. If you have a driver's license, you can become a pilot in 1 week. Now, if you don't have a driver's license, we can do some other things, but that is the rule right now. And older people, they are so blown away because, once you get them past their fear and they start looking out and saying, oh my God, that's my house, they don't even recognize it from the air because it's a total different perspective. And the older people, they get into it so much, believe it or not, they're the safest ones of all. Because all they want to do is get up on a nice calm day. They're not going to go in weather, and they're not going to be, you know, trying to play around doing things you're not supposed to do. Now, children, God, they hit it so fast. Look at them sitting in the back seat of a car, you know, with all these new electronic things. They are whiz kids, and we've had children 8 years old fly around the world. You know, so when you think about 8 years old, come on.
Now, they don't have a driver's license. How do they fly around the world at 8?
Because they are a student.
Okay.
And they're with someone else. Do you follow me?
I do.
So you can't become a sport pilot either until, I think it's 17. I'm not sure. It's 16, 17, 18, one of those. And but you can do other things. You can be with a private pilot, not old enough, and still be learning, okay? So the children, they connect to it instantly, okay? The older people, like I said, they're the ones that really get into it and get involved. They buy the plane, they buy the GPS, the headset, and the shirts, and all the, you know, paraphernalia, and they're really into it. People in your age group, you would get into it, and you would start going places that you don't go now. Like this weekend, whatever you're doing. If you're sitting there and you got that airplane, you say, you know what, let's go to Pensacola today. You wouldn't do that in your car. It'd take you all doggone day to get there. You can get there, come back, and have lunch and do whatever. So people in your age group will really go. They'll go. They'll hit all the little local airports, then they'll start branching out further and further. I remember at the beginning, I guess I was kind of like a little bird. I was scared to death to leave the airport because that's where I learned. And I went, man, I'm not going over there. And by the way, I got lost too. And you know, you think you can't get lost in Florida? Believe me, you can. And I didn't have my GPS with me. The battery actually died, and I shouldn't have, relied just on that. And we teach different from that too now, so that you do have a backup. But it's so simple. It's so unbelievably simple. Watch the program, Sport Pilot TV, and watch Terry's program that's called Florida Air Journals, okay? And watch some of the people that are into aviation now that are going places. Most of them are brand spanking new. And here in South Florida, you don't have to worry about the mountains. You don't have to worry about, the severe weather that often. I mean, a lot of times we can't fly, but most of the time, every day, you can pretty much fly somewhere.
With the sport pilot license, it's only for daytime flying, correct?
Correct. You're not allowed to fly at night
Okay.
on that license, but you can go past that license.
Right. So for the sport pilot license, the minimum that you've taught someone to fly is a week?
1 week.
And the maximum, how long has it taken the most obstinate person?
I don't even want them to ever think about that.
Okay.
Because you know why? When they're ready to solo, meaning by themselves, I'll know. And so will the instructor know, not just me, an instructor that's actually legal to give you a sign-off. He will know when you're safe.
So you will not put somebody in the skies that is not ready?
Never.
Great.
Because guess what? Whoever puts them in the sky, we have a lot of rules and a lot of regulations, and somebody's going to be liable. Who put you in the sky? Who passed you on that test? Did you do this? Did you do that? And if you don't answer those things properly, somebody's going to be in trouble. So we don't just randomly throw you in the air. And by the way, a lot of the instructors never want you to go because you're paying them to learn.
Oh.
So they're like, hey man, don't you want some more instruction? Do you follow
That's
me?
true. I
So
do
they
follow
stay with
you.
you. And by the way, everybody, every year, has to get recurrent.
Okay.
We've got to go up and we got to do the pattern,
Okay.
to show that we're proficient. And to make sure that, everything's safe with your airplane. You have a yearly inspection also. So it's not just throwing you in the air, and I don't want you to think 1 week, oh my God, there's going to be 1 million people in the air. It's not going to happen. But I'll tell you this, in a couple of years from now, you're going to see people all over the world flying.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Where do you see this going?
Well, you said it's going to be the Jetsons bouncing around out here. You might be right. They have a new aero car right now, and the car takes off straight up in the air. This is a car you drive down the street.
Okay.
This is a regular car.
Sounds good.
You stop, push a button, you go up in the air, and then you go forward.
No wings, nothing?
The wings, when you push a button, they come out. It's on.
We have this now?
We got it right now.
Wow, Rob. You're taking us into
It is
new technology here.
It is unbelievable. If I got a picture, I hope I did. Here we go.
So, do you see this is...
It's
going
already
to
here.
It's already here. Let me
It's here.
peel back the plastic cover. And this is exciting. So this is a car that you can drive in the street, and you press a button and the wings pop out.
You go straight up in
And
the air
you
like
can
a
go
helicopter.
Really? Now, I
Forward
hear
like a plane.
that a helicopter is very difficult to maneuver. How is this?
Well, it's not that it's difficult to maneuver, it's just different. And I tell everybody, if you want to fly a helicopter, learn to stand on a basketball and jump around.
Okay. Well, on that note, Rob, we're going to a commercial, but stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the Breakfast Club. We're here with Rob Tiller, and he's going to give us more details on learning how to fly. We have a special request from one of our dear technicians here who wants to know how to fly himself, so he asked us some good questions during the break. And Rob, I'm going to ask these questions to you. How much is it to start these classes? Is it an hourly class, or is there an all-encompassed price for classes to learn to fly?
I'm glad you brought it up. With mine, learntoflyeasy.com, you can pay as little as $100 to get started.
Okay.
It's tops. You will not spend over $900 total for everything.
And that
that's
includes the license.
That even includes getting in the air. That's your airtime.
So that's flight time.
Yes. So mine is very, very, very reasonable. But all the flight schools, most of them, will teach you by the hour. And a lot of people, I recommend people to go early in the evening or early in the morning because the clouds subside and the winds subside, so it's easier. So you can actually get started for less than $100, okay? And you can go at your own pace, or you can just go ahead and pay in front and get the thing out of the way, and then we'll just stay on you until you get your license. The other flight schools, and there's many more besides just mine. Mine's the first one in this area on learning to fly easy. Okay. The other ones, the flight schools that like at PBI and Palm Beach and the other ones in the area in Lantana, you can go by the hour there also. And the most expensive one would not be more than $100 an hour. Okay. And you should be safe within my course within a week. I'd rather have you say, hey, teach me at your leisure, and I'd rather push you as hard as I can, because I don't want to push you hard and see you not retaining what I think that you need to know. And I'll be able to tell by just looking at you, especially you. You tell it on your eyes.
I do.
When you got it, you're smiling. When you don't, you're like this.
I'm nervous.
Right.
Yeah, you can see it.
So the cost for mine is less than $900. For most people, it's going to be about the same price, maybe a little bit higher. I kind of think that I'm the most reasonable. And if I can't do it, I will let you know, and you'll get refunded, or either we're going to stay on you until you make it. Now let's take it past the license. To buy the plane, it's $18,500 to build it yourself. And by the way, many women can build these. I hope to have very soon a program on TV showing how to build, okay? And we're going to do a race. We're going to do a grandfather and 2 kids versus 2 women, and you might be one of those women.
Oh, great.
But what I want to do is I want to show how easy it is to build one. This isn't something like your greasy clothes and underneath a car and changing oil. This is very clean work. It's very studious work. You really look at everything you have. We don't just pick the pen up. We look at the pen, we look at every inch of it. And I recommend people to build part of their own airplane.
Because if there's something that needs to be repaired
you know exactly what's going on.
Wonderful.
Yep. So now let's look at the rich person. Not the rich person, but the person who says, I want a plane. You can actually buy one from me for no money down. $200 a month, you're out the door.
Wow. It doesn't sound like you have to be rich for that. $200 a month is very reasonable.
You're less than what a car is. Okay?
That certainly is.
So it's very, very reasonable. Now, you can go up from there. You can go up to $300, $400, $500, $600 or thousands of dollars a month. But in the planes that I'm teaching in the light aircraft, the sport aircraft, you can buy a real nice plane from us for $50,000, real nice. And by the way, we're half the price of everybody else for the same type of an airplane.
Wow. I wanted to get back to Learn to Fly Easy for just a moment. When you say learn to fly easy and that you're different than the others, do you have a different technique of teaching how to fly that's easier than if they went to another flight school?
I think it is, and here's why. I'm going to make you laugh. I'm going to do crazy stuff. I'm going to say, when do you have too much fuel? When do you have too much fuel?
When the plane can't get off the ground?
No.
Okay.
When you're on fire.
When you're on fire, okay.
You never have too much fuel, because running out of fuel, you're coming down.
Right. You want to make sure you have a full tank at all times?
So I'm going to try to make you laugh. I'm going to try to keep you casual. I'm going to try to make you think about what we're talking about. And I'm going to try to make your ground time as important as your air time. When we're in the air, I can't teach you little teeny things, because I want you focusing out that window. You follow me?
I do.
And I want you doing what you're taught to do. And I hate it when students get in the plane and they start talking right away about something that's nothing to do with what they're doing, and I don't like to get them sidetracked. So you should be safe within a couple of weeks. Easy. and you should be able, if you buy a plane from us, and by the way, there's right now maybe, I'm going to guess at this, maybe 75 companies that are gearing up for full-time operation. I just got off the phone today with Greg, who I told you earlier, who I hope's watching the show. He's from Poland, and we're ordering 500 planes, okay, and 250 kits.
Wow.
So we're getting ready, and everybody else is getting ready too.
So when you say 500 planes, you mean already fully built,
ready to go, out the door.
Ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so we have the kits, we have somewhere in between kit and fully built for those that are gung-ho. I just want to get up there as soon as possible.
A lot of them could be an older pilot who lost his medical, or maybe he retired, or maybe he got out of the aviation business, or whatever. So a lot of the people, you know, have a lot of experience, but they couldn't afford the other type airplanes because they were very expensive. And they were burning like 40, 50 gallons an hour. These burn like 3 gallons an hour.
I was going to ask you, how many gallons to fill up a tank on a sport plane?
We're 18 gallons.
That's it?
That's it.
I think it's more to fill up a car.
It is.
Yes.
And by the way, look how fast you go and where you go.
What type of fuel do you use?
You can get what's called an STC, and the STC will allow you to burn car gas.
Oh.
Okay? And I'm going to make an announcement now, and I hope I don't have to eat this, but I hope the guy that told me this is watching. We're going to announce in less than 2 weeks the first airplane in the world to fly with no fuel.
To fly with no fuel.
No fuel.
So is that a glider?
Nope.
What would that be?
It's going to be one of our airplanes. They're experimenting now. They hope to have it done very, very soon, and I'm still ecstatic. I understand now what they're doing, but can you imagine to fly with no fuel?
I can't imagine. I think that's exciting. And when you say that, I can definitely picture in the next few years seeing many planes flying around. I think that would be so much more ecologically kind and efficient.
There's some things going on in the world right now that are just absolutely mind-blowing. You computer people that are out there, go online and type in, 1 second, I lost my train of thought. Type in aircar, AIRCAR.com. These guys invented a car, and it's driving right now. I'm trying to get one. I'm doing everything I can to try to get the dealership.
We're going to a break. We'll come right back to that, Rob, okay?
Perfect.
Stay with us. Welcome back to the Breakfast Club. I'm Rita, and I'm here with Rob Tiller. And Rob, you were telling us before the break about the air car.
Yes.
So for all those sitting on the edge of their seats, what is the air car?
These people have a factory. They've got their first 6 cars already out, and the car runs off of air. No other engines, got to start it. It's an aircar.com. It's unbelievable.
I can hear everybody typing madly on their computers right now.
It's kind of neat. And I might be giving a secret away because I'm trying to get a hold of one of the cars myself. But the technology now is just flowing. You know, the internet has just made our world right here in our hands. You know, you can talk to Poland, talk to China, talk to Dubai in a second. And now all the information's being shared. So the technology's just really coming out. And we're looking forward to seeing if our airplane can fly with no fuel.
Wow. That's exciting,
we hope to introduce
Rob.
it at Sun and Fun, but we're going to have the preliminary work. And by the way, the guy's name is Mike Reynolds. So Mike, you better get that car flying because now everybody knows about it.
So we had a question about the number of hours. So for the week, say it's somebody that has a quick aptitude for flying. What in a week? What are the approximate number of hours it would take to learn?
The person would need to stay with me approximately. Now everybody's different.
Sure.
4 or 5 hours in a day. Because I like to take a long break. I like to walk around the airport, show you different things, let you recognize a high wing from a low wing. Tricycle, tail wheel, jet, propeller, turbine, I'd like to discuss all these little things when it doesn't seem like it's a class. But believe me, when I take you to the airport, it's still a class. But you're going, wow, look at this. Oh, that's what that is.
So your lessons are given here in West Palm Beach?
Yes.
Okay, and if somebody wanted you to teach them outside of West Palm Beach, do
Okay,
you...
I'm glad you brought that up. I have, I think it's one of the first one in the country. I've got a robot with a brain. It's on my website. When you go to learntoflyeasy.com, the robot will walk you through all the procedures that you need. Then you'll be able to take your test online, and you'll be able to learn even not being here in West Palm. And we're doing this in 15 languages.
That's great.
So we're really getting ready to really hit the road running here.
That's wonderful. And you were talking about Mongolia earlier, and that is a very mountainous region.
Well, believe it or not, where I'm going, it's not this one particular area. I used to be in the State Department, and I lived in Nepal, in Kathmandu. And Tibet was a country kind of taken over, you know, by the communists and the regime. But anyway, Mongolia, everybody in the world thinks that Mongolia is a part of China. Even now, it's not. They're a sovereign nation. And what's going on there is just unbelievable. They're the greatest horsemen on the planet Earth. My friend goes down the leg of the horse, upside down, and runs with the horse on one leg.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal.
And by the way, you can see that on my website too. If you go on my website, tillerenergy.com, and click on Mongolia, you'll see my friends there. And they have an event every year where they wrestle, and it's unbelievable. But they put on all the costume and the pageantry, and I just love it. I think it's hot. I'm really looking forward to going.
What is the minimum altitude you need to stay flying?
Well, in my plane, I would recommend not going over 10,000 feet.
Not going over 10,000.
Right.
And how about not going lower than?
Okay, when we're flying around here,
Yes.
if we were flying today, we cannot fly less than 500 feet over people, buildings, or cars or traffic or whatever.
Okay.
So we have to be at a minimum of 500 feet. But I'm always a little bit higher because I'm always anticipating an emergency. So if the engine goes off or there's a problem, I got that much more space to land. So you and I will be flying at about 800 to 1,000 feet.
Okay. And when you talk about the GPS system, that's not autopilot. We're
No.
still flying the plane.
You're totally flying it with the GPS. It's giving your direction, and
Okay.
it's telling you all of that information.
So if I want to fly from here to Atlanta, Georgia.
You would find the identifier in a book that we're
Okay.
going to provide you with, by the way. I'm glad you brought that up. You'll be able to flip to Atlanta, Georgia. Which airport do you want?
Okay.
You'll type that right into your little...
The logistics.
You got it.
Altitude, longitude, all that.
For $2,500, take your hands off the yoke and it'll fly you there
Wow.
on autopilot.
Oh, on autopilot.
But let's make believe you didn't have autopilot.
Okay.
You'll have a little picture of your aircraft that'll be on your GPS in your airplane.
Okay.
And that airplane just is where you are and where you're flying.
And you just have to keep it on the mark.
Oh, it has a line right in front to tell you what to do.
So it will guide you the correct highway in the sky to be on.
You got it.
And you won't have to worry about commercial jets or anybody else getting in your way.
They will not be in your airspace. That's
Okay.
correct.
Now, this just occurred to me. What happens if a bird flies in your path there?
Good point. Believe it or not, a bird could actually bring you down.
Okay.
Okay? There's a lot of times when a jet, with the great big jet engine spinning, a bird will get in there and it'll break fins off and you could actually have a problem. What I teach people isn't what necessarily other people teach, but I'll tell you why I teach the way I do. I say pull back a little bit and go up to the right. So I want you to go this way, okay? A lot of people tell you to go down, a lot of people tell you to go left. Here's how I learned it. I watched two birds getting ready to have a collision. And both of them dove down and both of them hit each other, and I said, I'm not doing that. So it's easiest for the bird to go down than it is going up. So I figure I'm going to go up and let him go down.
Okay.
And that's what I do. I pull back a little bit of pressure, and I go to the right and up.
Tell me, what is your mission? What do you want people
God,
to
right there,
feel,
sir.
experience when they fly? We only have a minute before our next break, but maybe you can start us off.
Well, my mission is I've lived here for a long time, and I'm close to the end. And my goal is I want to get a couple of tents, and I want to, what is that? Tell me what it is.
500 feet is only 160 meters.
Okay,
Not too much.
okay.
Okay, that's the signal from our technician.
He wanted
his
to make sure that
comments.
we knew what the height was. Right.
Okay, so he threw us off your train of thought. So we only have 30 seconds before our break, but we're going to come back with your mission because I
Okay.
want that to be a clear statement.
Very good.
So it's so great having you here, Rob. I hope everybody at home is watching. 800-725-9240 for any questions, and email as well, tbc@whdt.net. And we'll be right back.